They say marriages built on love can survive anything, but can they survive Rasheeda Frost with a mic and a grudge? Because baby, Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta Season 13 came through swinging like it had unfinished business and a vendetta to settle. The trailer didn't just drop, it detonated. And the biggest blast, it wasn't a weave-pulling fight. It wasn't a cocktail flying across a lounge. It was a slow burn, a calm sentence. Rasheeda, looking dead in Yandy's face and calmly tossing a grenade into her entire marriage. No warning, no build-up, just boom, one line that made everybody pause, blink, and go. Did she really just say that? Yandy, who's been the picture of composure for a decade, suddenly found herself on defense. The woman who held it down, through prison bids, courtroom chaos, and reality TV beef, was caught off guard, not by a hater, not by a caste rival, but by someone she once called family. And the internet. Baby, the internet couldn't keep up. Fans didn't just react, they spiraled. TikTok, Twitter, YouTube all exploded with freeze frames, frame-by-frame breakdowns, and high-level gossip analysis. The question wasn't just, what did Rasheeda say? It was, why did she say it now? Because when someone like Rasheeda, the so-called quiet storm of the franchise, finally speaks up, you better believe it's not by accident. And this wasn't some drunken slip-up, no slurred tea, no messy lounge confrontation. This was planned, practiced, and perfectly delivered. Rasheeda sat in that confessional like a surgeon with a scalpel and cut straight through Yandy's brand. The trailer barely let the words out, but it didn't need to. The damage was done before the sentence finished. Yandy's face said it all. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She blinked once, pressed her lips together, and hit Rasheeda with a deadly, "So this what we doing now?" And baby, that's when fans knew it was personal. What made it hit harder was the silence. That hollow space between the words. That moment when no one in the room moved, no one breathed, and the air felt like it dropped 10 degrees. That kind of silence doesn't happen on Love and Hip Hop unless someone crossed a line they can't uncross. And this time, Rasheeda was the one holding the pen and drawing in ink. People online had a field day. Not Rasheeda turning on her own like this. One tweet read, "This ain't even shade, it's sabotage." And the theories? Oh baby, they came fast. Some fans swore they always knew Rasheeda had it out for Yandy, that there was always low-key jealousy, that behind the sisterhood slogans and matching brunch outfits, there was resentment brewing. Others said Rasheeda just finally tired of playing support system while everyone else got the spotlight. Either way, the trust gone, torched, blown to pieces, in HD with studio lighting. Now let's be clear, Rasheeda didn't drop names. She didn't say infidelity or side chick or fake marriage. But she didn't need to. Her delivery had more weight than the words. And the message. It was loud. Loud enough that even people who hadn't watched the show in years were suddenly tuning in like they never left. Because Yandy and Mendeecees have always been the unshakable ones. The couple that made it through the storm. The blueprint. And now, with one line, Rasheeda made us all question whether that blueprint was just a script. Yandy, to her credit, stayed icy calm. But you could tell it hit her. Not because she said anything, but because of what she didn't say. That's the thing about women like Yandy. They don't fall apart, they fall back. And the second she pulled away from the group, stopped making eye contact, stopped participating in the girl power moments, that's when fans knew, this wasn't just a crack, it was a collapse. And the cast. Oh, they felt it too. Confessionals started shifting tone. Spice, never one to keep quiet, came in swinging. Some folks been sitting on secrets like they savings account. Now they spending them like loose change. That wasn't commentary. That was a warning shot. Jessica White, always a bit more diplomatic, looked like she'd rather be anywhere else. I don't know everything, she said, eyes downcast, but I know that didn't feel like love. And you could tell it rattled her. But what really made the betrayal sting was the silence around it. Nobody checked Rasheeda. Nobody said, that's too far. Nobody pulled her aside and said, sis, not like this. Everyone just let it land, watched it land. And that's the part that broke Yandy, standing alone, while people she thought were her tribe stood mute. Fans weren't having it. They zoomed in on Spice's smirk, Jessica's glance, Kirk's non-reaction. Every micro-expression became evidence. People were breaking down the trailer like it was a criminal case. Why did Kirk look down before Rasheeda spoke? Why was Yandy sitting next to her if there was tension? Who invited the camera to that dinner? It was giving courtroom drama with wigs. The real gag though, Mendeecees' baby, his name was tossed around like a gossip football and he barely even said a word in the trailer. But the implications, they were thick. Rasheeda made it seem like something had happened. Something real, and whether it did or didn't even matter. The suggestion was enough to make the internet catch fire. And Yandy, who's never needed to yell to be heard, gave us the most chilling response of all. She went quiet. No lives. No comments. No cryptic quotes. Just silence. And if you know anything about how power works in the reality world, silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. Because silence means lawyers might be watching. It means PR teams are calculating. It means whatever she's planning isn't for the cameras, it's for legacy. Meanwhile, Rasheeda was doubling down. I didn't say nothing that wasn't already known, she said in her next confessional. Just because people don't talk about it doesn't mean it ain't true. And that sentence went viral. Fans were split down the middle. Some called her brave. Others said she was bitter. And both camps were fighting like their data plans depended on it. But here's the thing. When you know your friend has fought for her family, like really fought, don't just casually throw that in the ring unless you've got an agenda. Yandy didn't build her image overnight. She built it while her man was in prison. While raising kids. While fending off rumors. While crying on couches and still getting back up. So for Rasheeda to come for all of that, oh baby, this wasn't shade. This was a hit. The next scenes hit harder. Mendeecees and Yandy pulled aside during a rooftop party, her eyes glassy, his face tense. We don't owe nobody nothing, he said. I didn't need you to defend me, Yandy replied. I needed you to understand me, and that moment. That hurt. It wasn't loud, it wasn't messy, it was real. Fans immediately clipped it, reposted it, captioned it. That's what real damage looks like. Quiet pain greater than performative yelling. If this is acting, give them both Emmys. Meanwhile, Rasheeda wasn't letting up. At a group confessional, she crossed her arms and said flatly, I said what I said. But something was different. Her voice didn't sound so sure this time. It had that edge people get when they're starting to question themselves. And the cast. They picked up on it too. Rennie Ruchenever, afraid to stir the pot, tilted her head and asked, You sure you ain't just projecting? Rasheeda blinked, looked to the side, and instead of clapping back, just asked the producers, We done here? But baby, they were not done. Spice came in hot at a charity dinner. You out here tearing up homes with your mouth but won't fix your own. And Rasheeda. She clapped back with at least I ain't hiding behind a mic. It took security 2 seconds to step in. Voices raised, hands moved, and once again, the vibe was wrecked. Plates untouched. Drinks spilled. Another scene ruined. And that's just the beginning. By the time the dust started to settle from that charity dinner blow-up, the fans weren't just watching the show, they were dissecting it like it was a political scandal. You'd think Watergate happened on VH1, the way social media was turning every second of screen time into a federal case. Reddit threads had timelines, TikTokers were creating literal court-style exhibits of who looked at who, when, and with what expression. One user even dropped a full 20-minute video titled The Fall of Rasheeda and the Rise of Silent Shade, Yandy's Revenge. And it wasn't just viewers picking sides anymore. The cast, they were moving like the floor was lava. Some avoided group scenes entirely. Others picked sides so publicly it didn't even feel like a reality show, it felt like a high school with HD cameras and a hairstylist budget. The damage from Rasheeda's comment wasn't just about gossip, it was about impact. And that impact was deep. Yandy and Mendeecees had just launched a mentorship program for young couples. Something that should have been a highlight or healing project, but instead, the backlash was immediate and brutal. Every Instagram post they made got hit with y'all, mentoring now. But what about your own marriage? And fix your house before building others. They didn't clap back. Not at first. Yandy stayed quiet. Mendeecees even quieter. But silence doesn't protect you in the age of the algorithm. It just makes people louder. Then came the solo confessional. Yandy sat in a cream-colored dress, lighting soft, her voice low but clear. She didn't blink much, just stared into the camera and said, I've walked through fire with that man. Not for applause, not for likes, but because I love him. And if someone thinks they can rewrite our story because they're bitter or bored, they've got another thing coming. It wasn't defensive. It wasn't dramatic. It was truth. It cut through the noise like a blade. That clip went viral. Thousands of comments. Fan pages posted it with captions like Queen Energy. This is why she stays booked. Rasheeda can't compete where she doesn't compare. But still the damage wasn't undone. At the next event, a sit-down healing dinner, the producers had obviously pushed for, Yandy showed up late and took the seat farthest from Rasheeda. The kind of don't even breathe in my direction move that said everything without saying anything. The table was full, the room well lit, but the energy, ice cold. Rasheeda stared at her plate. Yandy stared at the floor. Nobody moved, nobody spoke. It felt like a funeral for a friendship. And then, like always, Mama D stood up. She never lets silence win. She looked around and said, "This ain't no healing circle. This awake. Something died in here. Trust, loyalty, and that fake sisterhood y'all used to post about. Dramatic, yes. Untrue. Not at all, because Rasheeda and Yandy weren't just castmates. They were real friends. Or at least they used to be. Years of business collabs, birthday posts, vacation selfies, all of it now felt like staged content for followers who didn't know the truth. And when Rasheeda dropped that bomb in the trailer, she didn't just break the fourth wall. She broke the whole damn foundation behind the scenes. It was worse. Crew members whispered that filming schedules were being rewritten. Some cast wouldn't share scenes. Some refused to show up if others were on set. A voice caught in a leaked production clip said, "Yandy's not coming if Rasheeda's in the room." Another replied, "Can you blame her?" And that was the consensus, because what Rasheeda did, that wasn't just petty. It wasn't even reality TV petty. It was real life. Friendship ending, career complicating, shady. Kirk, meanwhile, sat like a deer in the headlights, caught between his wife and the wreckage she caused. In one scene, he and Rasheeda are sitting on the couch. Cameras rolling. He's sipping a drink, and finally mutters, "I just think some stuff don't need to be said on camera." Rasheeda's eyes flash. She doesn't say a word, just stares him down like, "How dare you side with silence?" And that silence said everything. Kirk didn't co-sign it. But he didn't stop it either. And now he was watching the ripple effects destroy years of peace, not just between Yandy and Rasheeda, but between everyone. Yandy didn't return texts. Mendeecees barely responded to producers and the fans. They weren't giving Rasheeda a break. Comments on her boutique's page turned ugly. "You selling jeans and betrayal now," one person wrote. "You want us to shop your brand, but you can't respect somebody else's household," another said. "She tried to stay cute, tried to keep posting beauty shots and makeup reels, but the likes dropped." The brand collabs slowed, and the energy shifted hard. And just when people thought the fire might die down, Jasmine returned. Yes, that Jasmine, the one from Rasheeda and Kirk's own cheating scandal years ago, the one they buried deep. She popped up in a teaser trailer, not saying much, just smirking in a VIP lounge, and the fans went feral. "Oh, now it makes sense," a tweet read. Rasheeda dropped Yandy's tea before Jasmine could pour hers. People started putting it together. Rasheeda knew Jasmine was coming back. She knew her own scandal might resurface. So what did she do? Get ahead of it. Create a bigger headline. Deflect, distract, burn someone else's house so people wouldn't see the smoke coming from hers. And honestly, if that was the plan, it backfired. Because instead of looking strong, Rasheeda looked strategic and, not in a good way, fans called her out. You forgave a man who gave you a whole child behind your back, but you torch your best friend over a rumor. Make it make sense. The memes were merciless. Meanwhile, Yandy wasn't playing the victim. She was playing the long game. Quiet, calculated, presenting herself at events, speaking at panels, giving just enough to remind people who she is without stooping. And that's what scared the cast most. Because when someone doesn't react, you don't know what they're planning. And in reality TV, unpredictability is power. Spice, who had largely stayed out of the mess, finally snapped at brunch. "Everybody wanna be right. Nobody wanna be real," she said, looking straight at Rasheeda. The table went quiet. Nobody had a comeback. Not even Rasheeda, but the peace didn't last. A whisper floated across the table. Being real got Yandy dragged, and just like that the tension was back. People were tired. Tired of tiptoeing. Tired of silence. Tired of watching a once solid friendship turn into social media warfare. The cast started choosing sides. Scrappy hugged Yandy at a fundraiser. Fans called it a subtle alliance. If Scrappy hugs you, you know you're on the right side of history. Someone joked online. Even Mama D posted a cryptic message. Loyalty means nothing if it only shows up when convenient, and fans, they knew exactly who that was about. The energy of the show changed. No longer about music. No longer about glopes or beef with exes. This season was about betrayal. Emotional chess. Reputation warfare. Even production couldn't keep up. In a leaked voice note from a team meeting, someone's heard saying, "This ain't the storyline we planned for." That's how raw it got. That's how real it got. As filming wrapped, a final cast screening was scheduled. Red carpet press. Lights. Drama. Yandy showed up solo. In white, graceful, poised, unbothered. Rasheeda arrived late, flanked by backup, but the vibe was tense. They never looked at each other. Didn't wave, didn't pose. Just walked past one another like strangers with history. The fans watching the live stream saw it all. Posted side by sides. "This ain't tension," one said. "This is divorce, energy," and maybe that's the saddest part. Not the fight. Not the drama. But the fact that two women who once built something real, something sisterly, let a storyline become a funeral. And as the last flashbulb popped and the curtain fell, on season 13, one truth echoed louder than any confessional. Some betrayals don't need revenge. They burn themselves down. You'd think after the trailer drama, the dinner table clashes, and the social media implosion, things would start calming down. But baby, this is love and hip-hop Atlanta. We don't wind down. We escalate. And by the time the reunion rolled around, the vibe wasn't reunion, it was courtroom meets battlefield. Because when you spend an entire season torching friendships, exposing marriages, and lighting the comment section on fire, eventually, someone's gotta sit on that couch and answer for it. Only problem: nobody wanted to sit next to each other. According to production insiders, the moment the reunion seating chart dropped, it triggered more meltdowns than a toddler at a toy store. Yandy reportedly refused to film in the same segment as Rasheeda unless she had creative control over how the narrative was handled. Rasheeda, she wasn't backing down either. "I said what I said. I ain't apologizing for being real," she allegedly told a producer. But being real doesn't get you applause when the whole internet thinks you fumbled the only real friend you had left. And then there's Mendeecees, quiet, composed, and visibly over it. Sources say he told producers, flat out, "Y'all not gonna use my marriage for shock value and think I won't respond." And baby, respond he did, just not how you'd expect. Instead of yelling or throwing jabs, Mendeecees came prepared with paperwork. Fans who were lucky enough to attend the taping leaked that his team showed up with a literal folder of timelines, text receipts, and alleged legal statements. It wasn't a roast, it was a defense strategy. Because when someone questions your marriage on national television, it's not just about your reputation, it's about your brand, your business, and your family. Yandy's entrance to the reunion, silence, no extra glam, no entourage, just that signature, "I'm here to reclaim my time" walk, and a tight-lipped expression that said, "I didn't come here to scream. I came here to end careers with class." When the cameras finally rolled, it wasn't explosive right away. It was quiet, tense, uncomfortable. Producers tried to warm things up with lighter topics, but everyone could feel the earthquake brewing underneath the set. Then, finally, it happened. The host turned to Rasheeda and asked, "Do you feel you owe Yandy an apology?" A pause, a long one. Rasheeda adjusted her mic, looked out at the crowd, then said flatly, "No, because I didn't lie." That was it. No emotion, no softness. Just the same cold delivery that started this entire war. And in that moment, you could see the audience shift, gasps, eye rolls. Yandy looked down and smirked, but that wasn't a smile of hurt. That was a smile of "you just buried yourself." What followed was chaos. Yandy didn't yell. She didn't curse. She just pulled out her own receipts, timestamps, private convos that painted a very different picture. And while she didn't expose everything, she exposed enough. Fans who watched the reunion live said it felt less like a cast meeting, and more like a deposition. And while the cast tried to play neutral, the room wasn't. Spice clutched her clutch. Jessica white-mouthed, "Wow," multiple times. Even Mama D, queen of the theatrics, just sat there shaking her head like a disappointed auntie at Sunday dinner. The internet exploded again. Yandy didn't have to raise her voice. Her facts did all the yelling. One tweet read, "This wasn't a reunion, this was a funeral for fake friendships," said another. Even the host looked uncomfortable. Then came the final segment, the one where castmates are supposed to reflect, hug, apologize, and pretend like they're moving forward. Not this time. Yandy didn't speak. Rasheeda stood up, brushed off her dress, and left the stage early. No hugs, no tears, just distance. And what's wild? That wasn't the most shocking part of the night. Because just as the credits started to roll, guess who walked? On stage, Mendeecees alone. No music. No announcement, just him walking into the shot, taking a seat, and looking directly into the camera. "I stayed quiet this season," he said, "because I wanted to give people the benefit of the doubt. But now I see, silence don't get you peace. It gets you blamed and then." He dropped a bombshell. Without naming names. He suggested that someone in production encouraged Rasheeda to bring up his and Yandy's marriage. "Y'all want chaos? Cool," he said. "But don't expect us to let you rewrite history while we sit here smiling." That clip alone. Millions of views before the episode even ended, and the theories. They tripled. Fans were now convinced. The entire storyline was orchestrated to distract from bigger scandals like Jasmine's return, or rumors that a major cast shakeup is coming next season. Some believe Rasheeda was used, set up to deliver the damage so someone else could escape it. Others think she knew exactly what she was doing and didn't care. Either way, her reputation never recovered. In the weeks that followed the reunion, Rasheeda's brand suffered. The boutique still stood, but the comments were a war zone. Influencers pulled back. One major hair company even removed her promo pic from their page after fans flooded it with backlash. Meanwhile, Yandy, she didn't need to say a word. Every time she posted a family photo, it got more likes than Rasheeda's entire feed. Every time she shared an event or community update, people praised her grace. She wasn't just surviving. She was winning quietly, strategically, powerfully. And then came the twist nobody saw coming. VH1 released a cryptic teaser, a new spin-off. No title, no confirmed cast. Just a short clip of Yandy in black, standing in front of a mirror. Her voice narrating. "Sometimes, the people closest to you are the ones sent to destroy you, but this time, I'm telling the story my way." The streets lost it. Fans flooded the comments with predictions. Yandy spin-off. Behind the scenes of the fallout. Rasheeda not invited. Theories spiraled like wildfire, and for the first time in the franchise's history, fans were actively campaigning for someone to be cut from the main cast. "Let Rasheeda rest," one post read. "We need healing, not hypocrisy." Kendra, who somehow managed to pop up in side interviews all season, had the audacity to jump into the conversation again. She posted a cryptic quote, "Sometimes, silence is complicit. Ma'am, weren't you just playing background vocals to Jock's drama last year?" The internet dragged her so fast she deleted the post within 30 minutes. Meanwhile, Spice was booked and busy. Mama D started her own YouTube series. Jessica White got a beauty endorsement deal. Everyone was moving forward, except Rasheeda because, while her confessional went viral, it didn't go the way she thought. She wasn't praised for speaking truth. She was blamed for breaking something sacred. And once trust is broken on national TV, good luck getting it back. The final moments of the reunion of unofficial, unplanned, unedited, were leaked by someone on set. Yandy backstage, hugging a producer. Her voice low but picked up on mic. "They tried it. But I'm still standing, and they gonna see me shine without the mess." And that was the mic drop. Love and Hip Hop. Atlanta season 13 wasn't about music. It wasn't even about love. It was about the collapse of trust, the cost of silence, and what happens when real friendships become collateral damage for TV ratings. Yandy kept it classy. Rasheeda lost control. Mendeecees reminded everyone, he's not just a storyline. And, the fans, they never forgot who moved with integrity and when it hurt. So what happens next? Will Yandy get her own show? Will Rasheeda take a break and repair her brand? Will producers finally stop turning sacred relationships into sacrifice scenes? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure. In the world of love and hip-hop, the only thing more powerful than a storyline is a woman who refuses to let it break her.